It is underground. See, one of the reasons why I didn't want to go underground was I didn't like the rock all above my head, but it didn't bother them at all. It just worried me. I mean, we had a few incidents underground, but for the most part, it was a pretty safe place to work.
The safety at the mine is extremely important, and the safety department, which included the first aid, the mine rescue, all those parts of it were under my banner. So the HR role at Myra Falls is pretty expansive. It's kind of the dumping ground for, if you're not operating or milling or maintaining, a lot of the rest, or the finance side, the rest of that kind of fell under the HR banner. The impact that you see on kids, and they probably don't even know it as they're growing up. Dad goes to work, comes home, type of thing. But there's always that fear. There's an inherent concern on family parts that bad stuff can happen. You're underground, it can be a dangerous job. It also can be an extremely safe job. I guess knowing that your parent is in a place where bad stuff can happen, it kind of works on them a little bit.
I've been involved in the union for over 20 years. I had no great desire to get involved in the union when I started. I was just thankful to have a good paying job and steady paycheck coming in. President of Unifor Local 3019, and I work at Myra Falls. One of the things was they were looking for somebody to help with the EFAP program, which is a family assistance program, which is sponsored by the Campbell River community. And I got involved in that. And then another time they said, well, we need somebody to help with injured workers. Well, I got hurt at one point, and I was off for quite some time, getting back to in shape. So then I said, yeah, I think I could probably do that. So then I started representing injured workers. And between that and sitting then I wound up on the board of directors for the EFAP program. And then from there, I had somebody show up at the hall here one night and wanted to talk to me outside. I come back in and they said, John, we decided you're going to be our next vice president. Do you accept or decline? I said, okay, well, I guess I'll accept. About a year later, the president resigned, and I've been the president since 2017.
My name is Dave Keiver, and I was the human resources manager at the Myra Falls Mine. I actually followed one of my prior bosses. They had come out here to Vancouver Island. And I started off as the human resources manager here at the Myra Falls Mine. And that was in 2000, and I've been there, well, I had been there for 13 years. And at the end of 2013, I left the industry. But again, over that stretch there, we had a good opportunity to work with people. I had started my career mining actually right out of high school. It was kind of an odd place to go. I was 18 years old. Jobs were plentiful in the mining industry. The group that I hired on with was probably 20 some of us. So some would stay, some would go, but the ones who stayed, for the most part, turned out to be lifers in the mining industry.
We try to support people in our union. Like, we actually have, like I said, the EFAP program. We have several EFAP reps on site.
The value of human life has always been really good. Lots of policies, lots of procedures. Compliance with them has always been a challenge. That you can have all the rules that you want and all the supervision that you want, but people, and this is both sides of the coin, it's not just a workforce part of thing, but management and the hourly people can cut corners sometimes.
Yeah, safety culture is a hard one. The problem is mining is you get bonus. So depending on what job you're doing, depends how much bonus you get. So your bonus can be half your wage or better. So the big problem with that is people take shortcuts to make the extra bonus, which is one reason I don't really like big bonuses. It's one of the things we did negotiate in our last contract was to get some of the bonus put into regular wages. And that was because, well, the main reasons for that was the cost of housing was so expensive. Some of our workers, even though they were making decent money, they still couldn't qualify for mortgages because they didn't make enough.
Knowing that your parent is in a place where bad stuff can happen, it kind of works. It works on them a little bit. I didn't really understand that a lot until we had a couple of situations at the mine. So those kind of lessons, for as painful as they are, that's what drives the next generation's safety requirements, type of thing.
Back in the day, there was a lot of hazing and mining, and you'd pull tricks, and it all seems like great fun. But as I've gotten older and learned, it's not fun. We had one guy that decided he's walking by and they put a tugger cable onto his belt really quick and then hit the valve for the tugger and picked him up so he's hanging from the roof, right? The only problem was it dislocated a couple of his ribs. Yeah, and that poor guy was me. And then you can't say, oh, well, this sucks. I'm gonna have to go report what happened. So you gotta go, well, this is what really happened. Yeah.
We had a very good working relationship with the unions. We were able to set it all up in a fashion that we were problem solvers. We would identify what's needed, what's the best way to do it, and our win-win track record was really good. The union leadership that I got to deal with was always willing to listen to you. They were always skeptical because mining and labor relations has history. Some of it's good, some of it's dark. So we always had to be aware of the history of the labor management there. I did learn a lot about the operation as to not just where it is, because it is a very unique location, but a lot of the history as to how it got to be there. And you can go back, I think about 1966 was the start of the operation. And it had initially, I think it was Western Mines, that was the owner at that time. They sold off to Westmin. Now, as you talk to people in town here, if they've been around a long time and they talk about Myra Falls, if they say, oh yeah, you worked at Westmin, okay, that dates them. It gives them some tenure in the community because it was a big part of the community. The ownership of the operation had changed a few times and was getting a lot more progressive, kind of getting into the current age. And probably the big trigger in that one happened in the back end of the 90s when a company called Boliden had bought the operation. And they came with a very different labor management mentality. It was truly working with the people, finding solutions, keeping things going. So that's kind of the thought process that Boliden had, that people matter to an operation. But understand the history of the mine where it is. It's a very sensitive place. It's in the middle of Strathcona Park. And Strathcona Park is a Class A park for British Columbia. It's the oldest park in the province, and it's pretty much one of the most pristine ones too. The BC Mines Act has a very powerful reputation. It's strong. People from around the world, when you're looking to mining and how to do it right, if they look at British Columbia, which a lot of them do, we've had a lot of foreign companies come in and say, well, how do you do this? The fact that there's not a lot of knowledge about the mine isn't, I'd say it's probably somewhat by design, that because of where the mine is and the sensitivity of it being in the park, there's an element of society that doesn't want it there. It's kind of the end of the road, no doubt. From Campbell River here, it's about a 90-kilometer drive to get out there. But that also brings with it a lot of people who will visit the park and they can't get into trouble. Our mine rescue people called to action to rescue people. Actually, the one person that had their dog stuck halfway down the bank above the waterfall. And they rappelled down and got this big dog and hauled him out type stuff. The fact that we're there is not just a little piece of trail going out in the bush. So it was very helpful. Like mining jobs are good jobs. They're career-oriented things. The money's good. You're generally in the upper echelon of earning capacity. So they are good jobs, but the ability to live in a community like Campbell River and work and come home every night. You literally, we would tell people, you can go fishing in the morning, you can go skiing for a little bit, and then you can go hit the golf course. And it's February right now, so you can still do all that.
Yeah, like one of the things that the guys used to do underground, shut down about noon. We'd go to the shop, the welder would have the table all ground down and a blowtorch underneath, and everybody would bring like steaks and whatever they wanted and throw them on the welding bench and they'd cook. And it was a good time. You're with those people more than you're with your own family. I don't care if you're hourly, with your staff, what you are, we all work together and you look out for each other. I know that was one of the first things my brother taught me about mining. He said, when you have a partner, you take care of your partner, because if you get hurt down there, that's who's going to be helping you. And so you better be prepared to do the same for him.
Mines inspectors that I've always dealt with will tell you that everything in there is written in blood. And because the rules and regulations might seem, well, why we do that? It's because bad stuff happened, and that's where rules come from. So it's a good document, and I've always had the fortune to work with people who actually believed it and they followed it. So Ministry of Mines will sit down and they'll put the Mines Act in front of you and say, that's how you do it.